Hello and welcome back to the Skipper's View podcast, brought to you by Chinook Seedery, our seedery partner. If you want sunflower seeds, go check out chinook.com. That's CHINOOK.com. Get all different sorts of sunflower seed flavors there, from jalapeno ranch all the way to hatch chili. They got tons of flavors. Go use it, 10% code, the Skipper's View at chinookseedery.com, and you'll get 10% off seeds. So, Hagen, we got a gem going on right now from Tarik Skubal, best pitcher in baseball.
Yes,
Thought.
he's the best pitcher in baseball, and I don't know if you could even argue against it at this point. I mean, tonight he went on 93 pitches. He just went 7 innings, one hit with 13 strikeouts to one walk. I mean, it was dominant. He went 22 whiffs as well tonight. If you did not watch this game, you should go watch the highlights on YouTube after these come up later tonight because that was dominating. The first 9 batters, he struck out 8 of them, with 7 of them being in a row. This proved that Tarik Skubal is the best pitcher in baseball. Honestly, too, like you can't pick against him. He's so far and away better than everybody else. He won the Cy Young last year and was arguably the best pitcher in the world, and he's even better this year. He's throwing harder. They showed a graphic on the Statcast broadcast. He's on pace to have the hardest average fastball ever for a left-handed pitcher in the Statcast era. It's insane what he's doing right now, and he is, in my mind, there's not really a discussion on who's the best pitcher in the world is. It's Tarik Skubal.
Dude, Tarik Skubal this year, he has saved my fantasy team. He has been so good. I don't know if it has the updated stats here from his start tonight, where I think he's gone 7 innings tonight with 13 strikeouts. He's right now destroying Minnesota, ripping through this lineup. And on the year, 2.29 ERA, 16 games he started, 102 innings, 125 punchies, and a sub .9 whip. What are we talking about, man? Tarik Skubal. I saw someone guesstimate that like in an article earlier today. I wish I could. It was like a guesstimation that he's going to make $400 million across 10 years on his next contract. Dude, I think he gets a blank check. He's that good. Back-to-back Cy Youngs we're talking about here. Like, if he continues this, that's nuts.
It's just, if he's going to get that much money, then I start to wonder. I'm like, are the Tigers going to give a pitcher that much money? Like, I mean, even $300 million for a pitcher is insane. I mean, we're $200-300 million pitchers we even have in baseball? And Yamamoto is obviously the highest one, but he was, 26 years old when he came over here. I think Skubal's going to be 29 when he hits free agency, but still, we know these guys. Garrett Cole, I think, would be a good way to equate him to, just for how dominant Garrett Cole was around this age before he hit there, and he got the $40 million a year. He got that big term deal, and Garrett Cole was still, before Tommy John, was one of the best pitchers in all Major League Baseball. I mean, going into 2024, I think he was pretty clearly viewed as the best pitcher in the world. So Skubal's going to make a lot of money, and not this offseason, but the next one.
Do you know how many guys have won back-to-back Cy Youngs and who their names are?
I'll give you 2018, 2019 Jacob deGrom.
That's the first guy on this list.
We go 2013, 2014 Clayton Kershaw.
He's on there too. Damn, you got the years too, dude. Good for you. That's sharp stuff, Hagen.
I know my deGrom.
You got Scherzer in 2016, 2017. You got Lincecum 08, 09. You got Randy Johnson 99 through 2002. Steve Carlton won it 4 times in a row once. Pedro Martinez in 1999 to 2000. Clemens. Dude, these Maddox, Jim Palmer, Denny McLain, Sandy Koufax, everyone here is virtually a Hall of Famer. Like, it's unreal. I don't know if Denny McLain is. I'll check that out, but it's insane. Like, could you imagine Tarik Skubal goes to the Hall of Fame at one point?
I mean, I can see it, honestly. He's been so good, and I
Denny McLain, he's not a Hall of Famer, by the way. 3-time All-Star. It looks like he had a really, really sick run for like 3-4 years.
I wrote about Skubal too earlier this month, about just how dominant he's been and how he's the best pitcher alive. And I said it on there. I was like, he's I don't know if people view it that way, but he's as dominant. We're seeing his dominance is up there with the primes of the Kershaw to Grom. We had that debate last episode with the dominance of Scherzer when he was at his prime, the Verlanders. Like that's how good Tarik Skubal is. Is his prime right now is going to be viewed as one of the best in the last 25 years since let's say 2000. Like it's up there with anybody.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, it was Grant actually at Database Hit was the one providing the guesstimation on the contract there. He's our resident Tigers fan. He's been paying close attention to this, so I think that would be fairly accurate of what like essentially what he's going to get. Like he is not older, but he's not he's not 24, 25 Tarik Skubal, so he's not going to get like every cent that we think he's going to get. But dude, he is an elite company right now, especially if he closes out this season the way he does. That being said, tune in if you're able to listen to the podcast and maybe put the game on background, like mute on the background, because we're going to talk a lot more than just Tarik Skubal tonight. We got to hit up on Kyle Tucker. Kyle Tucker this weekend. He was insane. Did you get to watch anything of the Cubs Astro series?
I only saw the stuff from the first game where Cam Smith went off and he struggled a little bit the first game, but it was a very low amount of baseball this weekend for me, to be honest.
Dude, yeah, I was the same way. I've had my Texas trip last weekend, came in, and then had a wedding this weekend, conveniently, and we got Dean's wedding at the end of the month, dude. Dean's getting married. It's not like it's time. Super exciting stuff. I'm very excited to go home for that. We'll see how that week goes for the skipper's view. I guarantee, like we'll have stuff being going out, but it's gonna be a hectic week to say the least. But Kyle Tucker, man, Kyle Tucker this year, 4.1 WAR, 17 bombs, 20 stolen bases. He's batting 291. He's got a 167 OPS plus, and he's a 933 OPS. Dude, the Cubs are, right now, they're in first place. They're 14 games above 500 in the Central. Kyle Tucker is one of the main reasons for that. How much money is he going to get, Hagen?
If I had to guess right now, I would say I'd say 11 years, $400 million, if I had to say.
I think he's going to get north of $500 million. I really do. Unless he settles to go to a contender.
I mean, yeah, that's the big one. Is it's going to come down to where he goes, like team wise. But I think any team that's giving him that type of money is going to be a team. I don't know if, like I've said this before, I don't think the Cubs are going to give him that much money. I mean, that's a team where you think the Cubs are a big market. Cubs don't have a single person in franchise history over $200 million contract. Jason Hayward is still. It's Jason Hayward or Dansby Swanson of like $187 million, their highest paid player of all time. But Kyle Tucker has been phenomenal this year. I mean, he had that phenomenal first month or whatever it was where he was the best player in baseball, that seemed like. And it seems like, I was saying this other days, we haven't really talked much about Kyle Tucker, just baseball as a whole, since then. I mean, all the talk is about PCA and what he's doing. I mean, it's incredible, honestly. But Kyle Tucker probably been better than PCA this year. I mean, combined, they have 8 WAR already, four apiece. And Kyle Tucker, his WRC plus is 6th in all of Major League Baseball now, 158. Only people better than him are Pete Alonso, Jonathan Aranda, Shohei Ohtani, Cal Raleigh, and Aaron Judge. I mean, he's putting insane numbers up right now on the contract year. But I think it's the same too. Like we always known this is what Kyle Tucker can do. It's just always been the health with him. And he's had some fluke injuries. Like last year, he fouled the ball with a shin and he's out for 2 months. But when he's on the field, he is one of the most underrated, but also one of the best players in Major League Baseball.
Yeah, and I'll say this: as for the Cubs' comment to the $200 million, I understand $200 million is not, and trust me, I'm not. This isn't me saying $200 million is not a lot of money to these players at the top level of this game at this point. $200 million is not the all and be all. There's a lot of good. Dude, there's so many contracts we can now call out that are north of the $200 million deal mark. But ultimately, in the history of baseball, there are not that many guys who've got had a $200 million deal or more. I would probably bet the numbers under 100. How do you think that's? I don't know if that number's way off. I'm not. I was like,
I would say
I just started looking.
50.
I don't want to spend time. 50. Okay, so I'm over. Yeah, I thought I was being generous, but I wanted to make sure that wasn't crazy. The Cubs, this might be their coming out party for entering that club with like a massive deal. Like you said, I totally agree. They are a big city. They're successful. They've won a title in the last decade. We're almost out of that decade though. Um, and I think that baseball's exciting in Chicago right now, and I think that if they want to be the smart team right now, dude, the White Sox stink, and obviously they made a lot of moves. They also had that plan to transition ownership of the team earlier this year that we talked about. Um, the problem is it's not right now, and like unless something drastic happens in Chicago, and we're talking like a complete face redo over the next year or two. Um, the White Sox are going to be irrelevant in Chicago while the Cubs are hot. That's just the way Chicago works. I don't know if you've been to Chicago. I lived there for 4 years. Like I was in the middle of both these stadiums. I was right in Old Town, Chicago, and people get up for Cubs games. They do not get up for White Sox games. It's a real shame. It sucks, but if the White Sox turned around, people would. Like the White Sox have won a World Series in this millennium. Um, I just think that the Cubs have a real opportunity to take advantage of the situation where the need for Kyle Tucker, they have the money for Kyle Tucker. They're a good, big enough city for, and this all depends if Kyle Tucker likes Chicago. Who knows? He was traded there. He didn't sign there. But I think they have, like, I'm not hearing anything bad about him with Chicago. I think the Cubs are ripe for opportunity here with getting a deal done with Tucker in the offseason.
I mean, they're definitely primed for it. And to your point too of how many contracts over $200 million, there's 34 in Major League Baseball history, with the lowest being $200 million on the dot. Carlos Correa, the one he signed in the 2023 offseason. But yeah, I think the Cubs are the perfect spot. I mean, you keep a Kyle Tucker on your team. That's a great person to build around. If you have that outfield of, I know Say's gonna be a free agent too, but if you just have even PCA and Kyle Tucker there, that is a phenomenal way to start. I just I don't trust Tom Ricketts. I mean, they talked about it last year when Jed Hoyer came out, where he's like, "Oh yeah, we can't spend this much money. Like we're just barely breaking even." Or there were some comments like that, and it was like, dude, you're the Chicago Cubs. You own miles around your stadium. You own all of that development there. Just because the revenue for your team isn't coming in, your business itself, you have so much money you can afford to sign a Kyle Tucker. Stop being cheap and go spend the money on him.
Agreed. Agreed. Um, I think we got to talk about this real quick. We don't have to take a lot of time on this. I want to just talk about it with you specifically since you're a Mets fan. Mets obviously just got swept by the Pittsburgh Pirates, and in this series, they were outscored 30-4, and this is across 3 games. Uh, Hagen, quick reaction. What like Mets? Like I'm not saying are they in trouble, but like what happened?
What happened is this team is awful right now. Juan Soto started heating up, and everyone else decided to just do the opposite. It's the pitching gives up 6 to 9 runs a game. The hitting does nothing outside of Juan Soto. I mean, Lindor has been awful the last few weeks. I mean, he's went from the clear All Star starter shortstop in the National League from 2 weeks ago when the slump started to now he may be the third best shortstop in the National League so far this year. But I mean, this team just is awful as a whole. I mean, they had the team meeting yesterday, so you expected. I was trying to see how would they come out today and respond to that, and you go out there and you give up 5 runs in the first inning, and it's hard too because it's Frankie Montas, the second start of the year. He's still trying to build off that, so he's going to get a lot more blame just because a lot of fans are frustrated. But this team's extremely hard to watch. I mean, as someone who watches pretty much 90% of every Mets game, it's very hard to watch these games right now, and there's not much motivation to even want to watch this team right now. That's how bad it is. You just kind of expect the same thing every single day. And I think just a good stat to show how bad it's been, especially this series, is obviously being outscored 30-4 by the awful Pirates, who me and you rag on all the time. The Mets have been a franchise since 1962. That is the worst run differential they've had in the series in franchise history.
Yeah, bad series for New York. to say the least. And then we don't have Sam today, so let's talk a little bit. We are getting ever closer and closer to that infamous trade deadline. Um, I am super excited for this year because I think a lot can happen. And the reason why I think that is we've talked about this. There are not that many guys on the market who like people are going to shell out for, and like the sellers who the clear cut sellers, we don't think have a lot to sell. So like it's either going to be a really boring trade market or it's going to be like, whoa, these teams got a lot better. And like I think okay, that's a little I guess erroneous to say because it's like they're one or the other, but I just think that a lot is going to drop here because a lot of teams in both the National League and the American League, I feel think that they can contend this year. They all just there's a lot of teams that just need a few pieces, and it's like they're a totally different team. So that being said, who do you think is going to be make biggest splash come the deadline?
That's a hard one for me because, like you said, this isn't a very sexy trade deadline coming up. It's not very like, oh, there's all these guys coming out here. I mean, Sandy and Luis Robert are probably the two big names out there. Luis Robert's been awful for a year and a half now. Sandy has not been
Now,
good except for the last four starts. But
isn't Luis Robert Jr. now on the injured list?
I believe so. But a team that I think that at least in my opinion, they should take advantage of this, and obviously this can change if they go on a quick run here in the next week or two, is the Arizona Diamondbacks. I think they should be sellers. Obviously, you lose Corbin Burns. I know their offense, it bangs. It's an amazing offense, but there's a lot of times, how many games we've seen this year where they're an exciting team to watch because they can put up 10 pretty easily, but they can also give up 10 just as easily. But, I mean, if this team's sold, I mean, you have Eugenio Suarez, you can get rid of him. Teams need that power out there. They'll take a power hitting third baseman. Merrill Kelly, who's been so solid this year, and he always has been solid too. He can get you a good return. You have a Shelby Miller out of the bullpen too. You'll have Zach Gallen too. I know he's struggled, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's still Zach Gallen. I bet there's teams that would still buy into, hey, we can maybe fix this guy a little bit. Maybe he get a better second half out of him because he's on a contract year too. Coming into the year, we thought he was going to get just under $200 million. And also Josh Naylor. Like it's Josh Naylor's one of the most. He's very underrated. I mean, the dude rakes. He's a 30 home run bat. He's such a good guy who can just be a perfect cleanup hitter, 4 or 5 hitter for a team. I think if the Arizona Diamondbacks just dwindle or struggle in the next couple weeks, I think they should sell, and I think they could take a big advantage of it. So they can even have a guy like you get rid of Geno Suarez. You can have a Jordan Lawler finally come up for the first time and have like a clear runway to play every single day. Have him play the last 60 games of the year every single day. Let him get some Major League time under his belt for next year to go back out there.
Sorry, I was clicking there. Yeah, and for me, I think that's a great look at like the Diamondbacks. I think they're in the NL West, and it's funny you bring them up because I'm going to bring up an NL West team as well that I think is going to make a splash here, and that's the San Francisco Giants. Um, Contrary to Hagen's entire take here on the Diamondbacks and why they should sell, I think the Giants are just primed to buy, and I say that because you look at their starting rotation: Logan Webb, Robbie Ray, who's been phenomenal, Raup, Birdsong. Verlander is your fifth starter right now, and it's Justin Verlander. I get he's a shell of himself. That being said, Justin Verlander, he's thrown 67, almost 70 innings this year. He's got a 4.26 ERA. Like, it's not the worst thing in the world. He's also had 55 strikeouts in those 62 and 2/3 innings. And he's your fifth starter. Who knows? He just came off a good start, given the fact I think it was like the White Sox or Kansas City. It was no one like impressive. But I just think that it was the White Sox, by the way. I think that the Giants with Devers now, Chapman, I really like their team. I do. I think that they have a bunch of professionals on their team that could put it together. You got Willie Adames there, who he's been disappointing this season, but why not? Why can't he turn it around? They just gave him a lot of money for several years. They have Heliot Ramos, Jung-Hoo Lee, Wilmer Flores has been pretty solid. Mike Yastrzemski, Patrick Bailey's a fantastic defensive catcher. Like, they have a lot of pieces. If they add another bat and they add to this bullpen, I think they need to make several. But the bullpen is a lot more, feasible to find trade partners for. And on top of that, you look at Bryce Eldridge. He's in AAA. They're the ETA 2026. But what happens if they call up Eldridge this year, which they still can? I think that, and he's supposed to be a dog. 6'7", 240. He's like Judge size, maybe a little bit smaller, but you get the point. Like they have options, and they don't have to trade Bryce Eldridge to get a couple relievers from someone. I don't know. That's my buyer. I think they're really, I think they are going to make a splash. I think Posey's going to get aggressive here. I do. Outside of that, like we'll save it because we still got 4 weeks. July 31st is the deadline, so each and every week we're going to talk about this. And my opinion probably will change. Got like who knows if someone goes down, situations change.
Oh, for sure. If someone goes down, or let's say a team goes on a 10-game win streak or a 10-game lose streak, it completely changes. Especially, I think a team like the Diamondbacks, the Giants too, where it's like, what if the Giants go on sort of like the Mets just did? Obviously, they're still going to be a win now team, but it's to what extent are they going to go by? And I think even too, you talked about like top bullpen. They might be one of the only teams where at the deadline you don't really need any bullpen help. I mean, their bullpen is by far and away the best in Major League Baseball this year. A 2.81 ERA, 3.54 FIP. I mean, they're a half a run ahead of the second best bullpen in baseball this year, which is Texas. I mean, Randy Rodriguez is the setup man right now. He's the best. He might be the best reliever in all of Major League Baseball this year. Duvall is back. So Tyler Rogers. I mean, this bullpen is. Ryan Walker, who was their closer to start the year, who was still disgusting. I mean, he struggled this year, but like Ryan Walker is a middle reliever for him now. That dude was the closer at the beginning of the year. That's how good this bullpen is.
Yeah, and for me, I'm looking at it playoff wise. Like because the starters are going to cost you a lot more. Like to go out and get Sandy Alcantara from the Marlins is going to cost you an arm and a leg versus going to get, I don't know, a David Bednar from Pittsburgh for a mid-level prospect. I think that makes your bullpen have a lot more creativity, especially for that postseason where we all, anyone who watches baseball knows nowadays you got, closers starting games, you got, high leverage relievers coming in, early on and, going for 2-3 innings, then throwing a starter in there. I think that the Giants, just because the bats are there, they need a bat though. They do need a high impact bat. And I don't really have a problem with starting pitching. It's literally just like getting depth and flexibility options come September, October baseball. But let's talk about some injuries and moves this week. I'll run through these real quick. Jordan Lawler, he's going to be out for weeks with a hamstring strain. This is according to Torey Lavulo, the manager down there. So that's not fun for Arizona, and even more of a reason to become sellers, like you're saying, Hagen. So Garrett Mitchell, he's been struggling with the injury department this year. He had an oblique issue, and now it's a shoulder one. So he's 26 years old. He's going to undergo shoulder surgery to address an issue that occurred on their recent trip. Pat Murphy, the manager, said that he hopes that he should return before the season's end. I don't like that news, especially because of the shoulder. It's optimistic, but I'm not holding my breath on Mitchell returning this year. Jake Fraley, this stinks for the Reds because they finally seemed like they were fully, back due from all their health issues this year. And he hit the IL with a partial labrum tear. Looks like it could end his season. It sucks because they just got Austin Hayes back from the IL as well. So Reds dealing with that. The Tigers just got Matt Vierling back after a month-long absence due to right shoulder inflammation. So he's activated. That's good news. And then we talked about this last episode. I cannot believe this happened this quickly. I think it was last episode. If not, it was like 2 episodes ago. Forrest Whitley. So this guy, super high prospect forever in the Astros system. They released him. The Rays pick him up immediately. And one would think, knowing the Rays history, like, oh, they're going to take their time and turn this guy around. No, he gets DFA'd. So it sucks. He's 27 years old. And I don't know if, this is a telltale sign. Like, why? I don't get why the Rays picked him up and dropped him so quickly. I'm very interested to hear. I'm going to ask Ethan about that when they're not live. because I think he'll have some insight on what's going on there. But that is not great news. But that's pretty much it for the injuries and notable roster transactions this week. I do want to talk about the Rays, though. So Hagen, 47-37, tied eighth best record in baseball now. Are the Rays for real?
Oh, 100%. This Rays team is very good. I mean, me and Ethan, obviously, a lot in the offseason just talks on everyone's sleeping on the Rays, everyone's sleeping on the Rays. And Ethan was saying, like, I'm not just saying this because I'm a Rays fan or whatever, but like, dude, this team could be very good. Granted, yeah, they could be bad if they don't hit, but this team has been so good. I mean, we have Joe Boyle, everyone knows is one of the nastiest dudes alive, who's just at AAA on a heater right now, ready to come up any moment. Taj Bradley, I mean, he could maybe get sent down at some point. I mean, that's how good they've been so far this year. I mean, Jonathan Aranda is still rocking a 164 WRC plus. He should be starting the American League first base, the All-Star game. Ban fan voting because of that. There is no reason he should not be the starting first baseman in the American League for the All-Star game. That is just criminal that he's up there. Vlad Guerrero Jr. and Paul Roach have nothing on him this year. And Junior Caminero he's a budding superstar. He's 21 years old and he's turning into a superstar before our eyes right now. I mean, Ethan's talked about it before too, where his home run line was set at 19 and a half on betting sites to start the year. We played 85 games. He's already hit the over on that line. It's insane. I mean, this guy is going to be very, very good. A guy we're going to talk about here in a little bit, Wander Franco, obviously was next superstar in Tampa. Maybe one of the next faces of baseball. This might be Junior Caminero now. Junior Caminero might be better than what Franco would have been. That's how good Junior Caminero's been. This offense banks. Yandy Diaz is picking it up now. Brandon Lowe is he should be the starting second baseman in the All-Star game. This team is so good. And even too, the Rays too, if they're going to buy, they can buy the deadline and buy these low leverage relievers so they can turn into something too if they want to fix the bullpen up a bit.
Dude, I would love the Rays to go get Marcell Ozuna at the deadline. I said that before on this podcast. I'm going to continue saying that. I think he would be a great addition. And I think they could fleece the Braves. I think that they could easily just like, oh, yeah, we got this guy, and you guys could have him, and we'll take Marcell Ozuna off your hands. But the Rays, every team needs to take a page out of their playbook. Whether it's hiring Ivy League or, insane data analysts and coders to figure out like how to evaluate players better. The Rays are doing it efficiently. I'm not saying it's the only way to do it, but they don't lose many games. And when look at the last 10 years of Ray baseball, they've been very interesting almost every year. Maybe even for the last 15 years. All the way back to the David Price days of early on when he was there. I feel like the Rays just make it interesting, and they're able to do so with such limited resources. It's impressive. It's simply impressive. I don't have another word to describe this right now. It just the Yankees, divisional, foe to them, my team that I support, they spend hundreds of millions and billions of dollars in salary for the last decade or so. I mean, more. I can't even add up all the contracts they probably had to pay out. It'd be insane to go through that. How many more wins do you think the Rays are getting per dollar than the Yankees right now?
I mean, it's definitely absurd because I mean,
something to think about.
The payroll difference is $209 million between the Yankees and the Rays right now. I mean, the Yankees their luxury tax is $310 million, third highest in baseball. The Rays have the 28th ranked payroll in baseball at $101 million. The only team with less payrolls than the Rays this year, Chicago White Sox and the Miami Marlins. The Oakland A's or the Athletics, who are 34 and 51, have spent $1 million more on the payroll this year. The Colorado Rockies, who are 18 and 65, has spent $42 more million on their payroll this year than the Tampa Bay Rays.
Unbelievable. Oh, God. Well, I'm glad you brought the Marlins, actually, because they're our next talking point as we switch over to teams to highlight in the NL. The Marlins are 8-2 in their last 10. They have 7 straight wins. I'm not saying anything this season, but they're 37 and 45. They're 11 games back in the NL East. And if you look at league right now, I think the Marlins are, they're right in the middle. They're bottom, top of the bottom of the bad teams in the National League. But like, they're only a game worse than the Braves. They're a few games worse than the Diamondbacks. And like, you know, for a year that was supposed to be a total pun year, they can make this really interesting, especially how they play the Sandy Alcantara situation, if they trade him or not. But Peter Bendix has stepped in and made this team so much better, so much more intriguing. Yeah, I know this is baseball and teams go on runs, but the Marlins are, I think, something to watch. I think that it's interesting what they're doing. I think Peter Bendix is one of the better GMs in all of baseball. Um, yeah, I don't know. And they did this again on a West Coast road trip too. They beat the Giants. They swept the Giants at San Francisco. They also swept the D-backs at Arizona. They were home against the Braves and took 2 or 3 against them. And then before that, they had a long hard series versus Philly. But I think that Philly taking 3 or 4 against Miami really knocked them into shape, and they've come out swinging. So, what are your thoughts on Miami right now? Are you like intrigued by Peter Bendix? Do you think this is a real thing that they could be a contender next year? What are your thoughts?
I'm not sold on them being a contender next year. I mean, I have a bet right now with Mikey that the Marlins would have a worse record than the White Sox this year. That's not looking too great now, especially after this win streak. So I wasn't really high on the Marlins at all coming into this year, but you got to give them props. I mean, they've been playing great lately, and they have some exciting pieces too. I mean, they just kind of need their pitching staff's very good. They're nasty pitching wise, especially in the bullpen as well. But I'm not sure how I feel about them next year too. I mean, I would take the Nationals. Yeah, I don't know if I even say next year is when they're going to start open up, and I take the Nationals over the Marlins right now. I would say the Marlins are a few years out right now, maybe 3 if I had to guess off the top of my head. But I do love Peter
That's
Bendix up there, and you have the GM up there, right? I believe right now that's right. You got to kind of turn this thing around. It's going to be is your owner going to spend some money for once? Because I mean, they have a potential grievance they're going to get from LBPA this year because they've only spent their luxury tax payroll is $85 million, and it's pretty close to the line on the grievance. I mean, for the getting the luxury for the revenue share money they're going to be getting. So I do love Peter Bendix though, and I think he's the right man to do this job.
I just I'm looking at the Marlins, like the current roster, and they're spending no money. They're not spending anything right now,
Lowest payroll in baseball.
and they can go get players. Like Miami. I'm trying to think of like obviously they didn't get Stan back. I'm trying to think of like big names that they've signed. They did sign what's his name, Hanley Ramirez at one point, right? Or did they trade for him? I forgot. Um,
Wasn't he was
but
he
nevertheless,
developed there and then they traded him away?
I don't, I
I
don't
know he
know.
was on the
Never,
market. I do have a Hanley Ramirez Marlins jersey.
yeah, I think he was there, and then they might have traded him away. Or actually, I don't know. Look into that while I look at this though. Just looking at the prospects for the Marlins, because of all the moves that Bendix made, they got Thomas White. They drafted him. Starlin Caba, Robbie Snelling, Noble Meyer, Joe. Like Noble Meyer, it looks like he's going to be awesome. Same with Thomas White. Um, they got Dylan Head. Bob Alderman's a name. Davion De Los Santos, who is I wasn't he like the top minor league bat of the year last year for the Diamondbacks before they moved him. And I know like there are defects with De Los Santos' game, but they got Dax Fulton, 6'7" lefty who's supposed to be insane. He got injured and he'll be back at some point. There are a lot of guys though that are predicted to be up here 2026, 2027-ish, and they can go get guys. I'm really excited to watch Miami the next few years for sure. I don't, maybe not next year. Next year might be a little too early, but you get what, like, I'm excited for this team.
And Hanley Ramirez, he originally a Boston guy. I mean, played 2 games for them in 2005, and then was traded to the Marlins after there in a deal. It was Hanley Ramirez, Anibal Sanchez, Jesus Delgado, and Harvey Garcia to the Marlins for Josh Beckett, Mike Lowell, and Guillermo Mota. A few guys that I'm too young to even know
I
who
don't
they
know
even are.
either.
But yeah, went to the Marlins, played there for it looks about 6 years. sorry, 7 years. Put up 26.9 WAR there, by far the best of any team that he was there. I mean, rookie of the year too there with a few an MVP 10, MVP 11, and an MVP 2 back years. He was electric back then.
Well, I appreciate you pulling that up. He was a dog. Then I feel like he's like one of the most like underappreciated players. Like he does not have a lot. Like a lot of people would not know who Hanley Ramirez is. Um, but never, I didn't think we were going to be talking about Hanley Ramirez on this episode. Um, let's talk about the Brew Crew. They're 8-2 in their last 10. They're now 2 games, even with the Cubs' big series win against Houston this weekend. The Brew Crew is now 2 games behind the Cubbies in the NL Central. They are very legit. The Brew Crew also, we've talked about this, even with Mizorowski, they have Woodruff and they have Logan Henderson waiting to get deployed here. They are super interesting to watch. Jackson Churio still has not really taken off this year. Like he's had a solid year for sure. And how old is he? 22, if that.
He's 21. He is a day younger than me.
Okay, he's 21. He's batting 260 on the year, just a shade under. He's got 54 runs, 13 bombs, 15 stolen bases, and 50 RBIs. Virtually on pace to hit 26 bombs. He's going to hit 100 RBIs and 30 stolen bases. Batting 260. That's an incredible year. So, like, he has not even gone off yet to where we think he's going to. I think the Brew Crew are going to give the Cubs a run for their money in the Central if the Cubs do not get aggressive near the deadline here.
I mean, you had that hot take on, I believe it was a month ago. It was a while ago where you said they were going to come up and win this division over the Cubs. And I mean, sneaky, they're the only team in the NL Central to have a winning record above teams above 500. Granted, it's 21-20, so 1 game ahead, but still the Cubs are 23-26 above 500. The Brew Crew, they play great at home. They're 27-17 at home. I think everyone expected this. I think no matter how the season starts, it's just like the Astros, I think, in a way, where it's just, at the end of the day, it's the end of the season, they're going to be within 5 or less games of the wild card. Like, they're going to be right there. Obviously, the Central, you're more of a division you're going to have to win to get in with how good the East and the West are, but you know that the Brewers are going to be there every single year. Like, no matter what the roster looks like, it's the same thing every year. They're going to win whatever that 85 to 89 wins range. They're going to be right there in the playoff race every single year.
Dude, and like, I'm like looking right now. Joey Ortiz, who had a great year last year, he's now batting 240, got a 418 slug, 334 OBP. If he steps up his game a little bit, they got Rhys Hoskins, they got William Contreras, Sal Frelick. We need Sam Fosberg to keep drinking beers, man. Frelick's got to hit bombs. We got Bryce Terang, Jackson Churio, Yelich, Caleb Durbin. They got from the Yanks. Like, and like, I'm just super excited to watch this team. They are cool because it's like they're like the National League Rays almost. Like they develop well, they're managed well, they play fundamental baseball. They really do pitch well, and they do a damn good job of developing pitching as well, or tuning guys like if they acquire them. Yeah, so we'll see. I think they're going to make things real interesting in the Central. Hey, why don't you lead us down? We got some bad news, sad news, and funny news in the miscellaneous this week. Let's start off with the bad news.
Real quick, too, I just want to get a note on for Sam Fosberg on the Sal Frelick thing. I mean, in 198 games, I'm doing this math correctly in my head, in his career coming into this year, he had 5 home runs. This year in 80 games, he's got 4 home runs. So, Sam, you might have picked the wrong man. He might hit 10 this year. But
10 beers. Like, Sam's going to hate that.
But big news, though. Wander Franco. We all know what happened with him there. But he had his court case just recently this week. Former All-Star of the Tampa Bay Rays, 24-year-old. He was given a 2-year suspended sentence after being convicted of sexual abuse of a minor in the Dominican Republic. This, honestly, I think shocked was the right word, and not in the sense that he got charged, more in the sense of 2 years. And I believe he only is going to jail if he's being caught again doing what he was doing. So got off very light. I think is the way to put it. I don't think anyone expected him to get only 2 years or this, but still, I mean, that just it's good that justice was served there, and it's it's a shame on what happened. But some better news though. We have Shohei Ohtani. He's just the fastest pitcher of his major league career yesterday in his outing. I mean, he went two scoreless yesterday. Now he's gone three scoreless since that first inning.
Dude, how how is this possible that a player could be like as like fun to watch? Shohei Ohtani is literally like if you went into MLB the Show and created a player and you make him as good as you possibly can, it's Shohei Ohtani. Throws 102. How many times has he topped the exit velocity charts and home runs in the last 2-3 years? Um, he can hit the hell out of the ball. He's like he he impresses me every single time he steps to the plate or takes the field in general. It is insane how good he is. I think that the arm, injury concerns probably be put more to bed with this, like showing that, and that's why I kind of think he did it. I think he was like, I don't want people thinking I can't throw anymore, and he just threw his howitzer and just was like, "Yep, I'm pinging this at 102." Did
What I
you
what I love
what?
about it too is that like this is technically like still his rehab right now that he's on. I mean, he's not even fully back to like pitching. This is technically a rehab in the major leagues for him, and he goes 101.7. And funny enough too, I mean, it wasn't the fastest pitch of his life. I mean, the fastest one tracked was in the World Baseball Classic a couple years ago, where he hit 102. And funny enough, it was both of those pitches, the 102 in the World Baseball Classic and the 101.7 he just threw, were both to Vinny Pasquantino.
Poor Vinny. Um, I want to quickly display these because I think they're sick. The Yankees on August 21st will be having an awesome bobblehead giveaway, and it's going to be George Costanza taking a nap from Seinfeld. I think this is hysterical. I really, really wish that I was at home in New York for this. I might, if any of my friends are going, I might ask them to get me it. I think it's like one of the things that's got to go up on the shelf. Odds I get one probably low at this point, but they're awesome. If you're in the New York area and you have an opportunity to get a George Costanza bobblehead from Yankee Stadium, you get the bobblehead.
I do like the irony there too, where it's him snoozing right when the team's been a snooze fest for the last few weeks too.
uh, yeah, yeah. Hey, Judge went off today. Judge had 2 bombs. He's now at 30 on the year. Um, Angels prayers out to Ron Washington. So I don't know what's going on there. I don't want to dive deep on it. It's his privacy. He's dealing with health issues. He's on medical leave for the rest of the season. This has been going on since June 20th when it was first announced. So he's going to miss the rest of the year with this. So hopefully all is well with Ron Washington. Huge advocate for baseball. People don't know who he is. There's a I don't know if he's in the movie or if he takes place. I don't think he's in the movie. Ron Washington was a part of the Moneyball, movie. His actor. I'm sorry, he was portrayed in the movie, but it's really cool thing to like see like how much influence this guy's had on the game of baseball forever. I feel like Ron Washington has been a part of the game of baseball as long as I've been here. He's been in a managerial position or a coaching position for forever. So this is sad news. To see that he's not able to, be active with the Angels right now. Hope all is good with him.
It is sad to hear it. And prayers out to Ron Washington. I hope everything is well. It sucks to think about it too. Where I mean, they're talking about the MLB Network the other day. Is we may have seen his last game as a manager too, because I mean he's 73 years old dealing with health issues. I mean you don't want to think that, but it's very sad if that is the case. And prayers out to him. I hope everything goes all right. But like you said, he's loved in the baseball community. I mean, he's also known too for even just every time he's playing, opposing players would come up to him when he was with the Braves. Opposing players come up to him and say, "Hey, dude, hit me grounders. Like, give me drills to do." Because like, everyone called him it's almost like a wizard. Like for the infielders, like everyone was doing drills that he was doing with guys. Like it didn't matter if dudes were the other team, he'd do them with them. So he's loved by all the baseball community. So prayers out to him.
Dude, he's been a manager since 2007. He's been a coach as far back as 1996. So he was portrayed in the movie, by the way. I wasn't sure because I think David Justice plays himself in the movie. There's a few, and I'm always confused who plays who. But
And for
I
those
mean,
who don't know, he
a real person and who's like just an actor. But Ron Washington, that's a long baseball run. He's been a player. He started in 1977. He started his career in this league. So he's been around for almost 60, 50 some odd years in this league. It's crazy. Um, I hope he doesn't manage his last game. The last thing we'll talk about. So this one also real sad. Hall of Famer and former MVP Dave Parker passed away yesterday. His nickname, the Cobra, he collected 2,700 hits, 526 doubles, 339 bombs. He had almost 1,500 RBIs and almost batted 300. He batted 290 across 19 years in the MLB. He just got elected into the Hall of Fame, and the ceremony isn't happening until later this summer. So he unfortunately will be inducted post mortem, and it's just like he knew he got elected in. Now he's not going to be able to see that happen. So prayers out to the Parker family. That really sucks, and yeah, just shows again how life is unfair. Um, Anything outside of that, Hagen, you want to tie off on before we dip out?
Uh, yes, I do want to talk just quickly. Just how we started the show too, the Tarik Skubal stat. I mean, this one they
Yeah,
showed this. Shout out to the Statcast broadcast on ESPN2 tonight. It was great to watch that version of it. But Tarik Skubal today, I believe, was his 120th career major league start. In the previous 119 games, he had started the game off with a fastball, and they're talking about it where Byron Buxton, he has the highest swing percentage on first pitches this year, 60%. So it's like both these guys, there's like this first pitch is gonna be exciting. We got a guy who throws fastballs every single time first pitch of the game. Yeah, he swings 60% of the time. And Tarik Skubal started him off with nothing less than a changeup. I just thought that was pretty funny. He's the 119 straight games in his career, he started the game out with a fastball. And he gets that and he throws a changeup. And you can tell Buxton and Skubal knew. I mean, Buxton looked at him and gave him a look of like, you've never done that before. Like, so it was funny that he knew.
that is funny. I'm glad you pointed that out. I did not know that. Um, I don't have anything else for you. This week, we have a Yankees recap coming out from me tomorrow. We have a bunch of pieces coming out tomorrow and Tuesday. Obviously, we got a big holiday this week. I'm going to work on a few more pieces myself. I don't know who else on the team's available, but we'll see. Keep following the blog, the newsletter. A lot of interesting pieces come out in baseball there. It helps us grow. Consider subscribing, not only to the podcast, but to the newsletter as well, if not already. And thank you all for listening. Love you guys. Bye.